listening to the Holy Bible 1-Year Challenge with Master Storyteller Michael Wood, featuring the easy-to-read version and used by permission from Bible League International. Enjoy the show!
Hello everyone, welcome to day 316. We're continuing in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22, verse 23 to chapter 23. And in the New Testament, we're continuing in the book of Hebrews, starting in chapter 11. The following chapter summaries are written by shmup.com. We remember, in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22, God talked about putting his people into a smelter, that is, to melt metal. And in this way, the land of Israel will be cleansed. It needs to be cleansed. Its princes are like raging lions, murdering the innocent and creating widows. The priests have ruined things too, mixing the holy and the everyday, and not teaching the difference between what's clean and unclean. BLTs? Unfortunately, not clean. And it's not just princes and priests. The officials kill people for money. The prophets lie, and the people themselves oppress the poor and rob immigrants. Society is going down the tubes. God couldn't find one person to stand in front of the broken wall of the city and repair it. By repenting and turning to good. So God is judging everyone and punishing them with wrath. And in Ezekiel 23, warning, mature content ahead. Sister Act. God says that once upon a time there were two sisters who were the daughters of one mother. They were named Oholah, which is Israel, and Oholibah, Samaria. They both grew up to be prostitutes and sold themselves to Egyptian gods who fondled their breasts. Nonetheless, God took them as his wives apparently, and they bore sons and daughters for him. But Oholah took a fancy to handsome Assyrian horsemen, probably Assyrian gods, and prostituted herself to them like she'd done in Egypt. So God let the Assyrians kill her children and strip her naked. Sister Act 2. The following section is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Oholibah is the same as her sister, except she doesn't just commit adultery with the Syrians, but with Babylonians as well. She sends messengers to the Babylonians, and they come and defile her with their lusts. Sounds more like late-night Cinemax than the Bible. God turns in disgust from her, but Oholibah continues to step up her whorings, remembering, and hold on because this gets way gross and way disturbing, remembering how her lovers in Egypt had male parts like donkeys. In vengeance, God is going to send all the former lovers of Oholibah to come attack her. Babylonian and Assyrian horsemen will all ride down and hack off her nose, strip her clothes off, and kill her sons and daughters. God tells Judah and Jerusalem that they'll drink the same cup of wrath as their sister Oholibah, suffering at the hands of her former lovers for her idolatries and injustices. She'll drink the cup of wrath until it's empty and cut her breasts with the shattered pieces of the cup. God tells Ezekiel to judge Oholah and Oholibah, condemning them for adultery, breaking the Sabbath, and sacrificing their children to idols. Israel even committed adultery with men, or gods, from distant lands, involving an elaborate sequence with beds, bathing, and beyond. Raucous partiers and drunk people put bracelets and beautiful crowns on the heads of women. So the sisters keep on committing adultery, but righteous judges will judge them accordingly. And of course, the judgment against them will involve getting attacked and having their children killed by invading armies. The usual stuff. Moving on to the New Testament in the book of Hebrews. We're beginning chapter 11. Keeping the faith. Okay, so you gotta have faith. But what is faith? Well, I'm glad you asked. And probably one of the most famous verses in this book, the author tells us, quote, "Faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Quote. Huh? Well, basically it means that if we have faith, then we know for sure that everything we're hoping for and dreaming of will eventually come true, Even though we can't see the path ahead of us, faith tells us the road will be a smooth one. In other words, if you believe it, you will achieve it. If you enjoy the show, visit me at patreon.com/storymaster. You'll find the link in the description box below. By contributing as little as $1 per month, you will enable me to continue this ministry, and you'll get cool rewards too. Together, we're going to get through the Bible in 1 year. Let's get started. Ezekiel chapter 22, verses 23 to 31. Ezekiel speaks against Jerusalem. The Lord spoke to me.
Son of man, speak to Israel. Tell her that she is not pure. She has not received rain because of my anger. The prophets in Jerusalem are making evil plans. They are like a lion. It roars when it begins to eat the animal it has caught. They have destroyed many lives. They have taken many valuable things and made widows of many of the women in Jerusalem. The priests have broken my law. They don't respect my holy things. They treat holy things the same as things that are not holy. They have not taught people the difference between things that are clean and things that are unclean. They refuse to respect my special days of rest, so the people do not honor me. The leaders in Jerusalem are like a wolf eating the animal it has caught. They attack people and kill them just to get rich. And the prophets cover up these evil things, like workers painting over cracks in a wall with whitewash. They do this by telling about visions that are not true and telling lies about the future. They say,
"This is what the Lord God says."
but the Lord has not spoken to them. The common people take advantage of each other. They cheat and steal from each other. They mistreat the poor and cheat immigrants without any thought of justice. I looked for someone who could turn my people away from evil so that I would not have to destroy their land. I needed someone who could make things right again, like a worker who repairs a wall or a soldier who defends the gaps in it. But I could not find anyone, so I will pour out my fierce anger on them. Like a raging fire, I will completely destroy them. I will punish them as they deserve for the evil things they have done.
This is what the Lord God says. Ezekiel chapter 23. The Lord spoke to me.
Son of man, listen to this story about Samaria and Jerusalem. There were two sisters, daughters of the same mother. They became prostitutes in Egypt while they were still young girls. That's where they first let men touch and handle their young breasts. The older daughter was named Oholah, and her sister was named Oholibah. They became my wives, and we had children. I am using the name Oholah to mean Samaria, and the name Oholibah to mean Jerusalem. Then Oholah became unfaithful to me. She began to live like a prostitute. She began to want her lovers. She saw the Assyrian soldiers in their blue uniforms. They were all handsome young men riding horses. They were leaders and officers, and Oholah gave herself to them. They were hand-picked soldiers in the Assyrian army, and she wanted them all. She polluted herself with their filthy idols. She continued the prostitution she began in Egypt. There, men made love to her when she was a young girl. They touched her young breasts and used her as a prostitute. So I let her lovers have her. She wanted Assyria, so I gave her to them. They raped her. They took her children and killed her. They punished her, and women still talk about her. Her younger sister, Oholibah, saw all these things happen. But Oholibah sinned more than her sister did. She was more unfaithful than Oholah. She wanted the Assyrian leaders and officers. She wanted those soldiers in blue uniforms riding their horses. They were all handsome young men. I saw that both women were going to ruin their lives with the same mistakes. Oholibah did worse things than her sister. She saw some pictures of Babylonian men carved on a wall. They were wearing red uniforms with belts around their waists and large turbans on their heads. They looked like Babylonian chariot officers. When she saw them, she wanted to have sex with them. She sent messengers to Babylonia, inviting them to come. So they came and had sex with her. They used her to satisfy themselves until she was sick of them and told them to go away. Oholibah let everyone see that she was unfaithful. She let so many men enjoy her naked body that I turned away from her in the same way I had rejected her sister. But Oholibah thought about her time as a prostitute in Egypt when she was young, and she turned to even more prostitution. She remembered the lovers who excited her there, who were like animals in their sexual desires and abilities. Oholibah, you dreamed of those times when you were young, when your lovers touched and handled your young breasts. So, Oholibah, this is what the Lord God says. You grew tired of your lovers, but I will bring them here to attack you from all sides. I will bring all the men from Babylon, especially the Chaldeans from Pekod, Shoah and Koah, and all the men from Assyria. I will bring all the leaders and officers, all those handsome young men, chariot officers, and hand-picked soldiers riding their horses. They will come against you with a huge army, riding on their horses and in their chariots. They will have their spears, shields, and helmets. They will gather around you, and I will tell them what you have done to me. Then they will punish you their own way. I will show you how jealous I am. They will become angry and hurt you. They will cut off your nose and ears. They will kill you with a sword. Then they will take your children and burn whatever is left of you. They will take your nice clothes and jewelry. This is how I will stop your shameful acts and your love affair with Egypt. You will stop wishing you could go back there. You will never remember Egypt again.
This is what the Lord God says.
I am giving you to those you hate, to those you thought were disgusting, and they will show how much they hate you. They will take everything you worked for, and they will leave you bare and naked. Everyone will see that you are nothing but a prostitute. Your own shameful sins are the reason I am punishing you. You acted like a prostitute with other nations, polluting yourself by worshiping their idols. You followed the example of your sister Oholah, so I will punish you the same way. I will give you the same cup I gave her to drink.
This is what the Lord God says. You will drink from your sister's cup. A big cup, tall and wide. It holds so much that after you drink it all, everyone will laugh and make fun of you. You will be drunk and miserable because that cup is full of fear and ruin. It is the same cup your sister Samaria drank. You will drink until the cup is empty. Then you will break it to pieces and use them to tear at your breasts.
This will happen because I, the Lord God, have said so.
So this is what the Lord God says.
Jerusalem, you forgot me. You threw me away and left me behind. So now you must suffer for leaving me and living like a prostitute. You must suffer for your wicked dreams.
Judgment against Oholah and Oholibah. The Lord said to me,
Son of man, you will judge Oholah and Oholibah. Tell them about the disgusting things they have done. They committed the sin of adultery and are guilty of murder. They acted like prostitutes. They left me to be with their filthy idols. They had my children, but they forced them to pass through fire as food for their filthy idols. They also treated my special days of rest and my holy place as though they were not important. They killed their children for their idols, and then they went into my holy place and made it filthy too. They did this inside my temple. They even sent messengers to invite men to come from faraway places. And when the men came, the two sisters bathed themselves, painted their eyes, and put on jewelry. They sat on a fine bed with a table set before it, where they had put my incense and my oil. The noise coming from the room sounded like a crowd of people having a party. A lot of noisy drunks had come in from the desert. They put bracelets and beautiful crowns on both sisters. One of the sisters was worn out from her sexual sins, and I wondered, do they really want to have more sex with her? But they kept going to her as they would go to a prostitute. Yes, they went again and again to those sinful women, Oholah and Oholibah. But honest judges will find them guilty of adultery and murder, because they have been unfaithful, and their hands are covered with blood.
This is what the Lord God says.
Bring an army against them to attack them and fill them with terror. The soldiers will throw stones on these women and cut them to pieces with their swords. They will kill their children and burn their houses. To Oholah and Oholibah, I say, this is how I will remove such disgraceful behavior from this land. And this will be a warning to all the other women not to do the shameful things you have done. You will get what you deserve for your disgraceful acts. You will be punished for your sinful worship of idols. Then you will know that I am the Lord God.
Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1 through 16. Faith. Faith is what makes real the things we hope for. It is proof of what we cannot see. God was pleased with the people who lived a long time ago because they had faith like this. Faith helps us understand that God created the whole world by His command. This means that the things we see were made by something that cannot be seen. Cain and Abel both offered sacrifices to God, but Abel offered a better sacrifice to God because he had faith. God said He was pleased with what Abel offered, and so God called him a good man because he had faith. Abel died, but through his faith, he is still speaking. Enoch was carried away from this earth, so he never died. The scriptures tell us that before he was carried off, he was a man who pleased God. Later, no one knew where he was because God had taken Enoch to be with Him. This all happened because he had faith. Without faith, no one can please God. Whoever comes to God must believe that He is real and that He rewards those who sincerely try to find Him. Noah was warned by God about things he could not yet see, but he had faith and respect for God, so he built a large boat to save his family. With his faith, Noah showed that the world was wrong, and he became one of those who are made right with God through faith. God told Abraham to travel to another place that He promised to give him. Abraham did not know where that other place was, but he obeyed God and started traveling because he had faith. Abraham lived in the country that God promised to give him. He lived there like a visitor who did not belong. He did this because he had faith. He lived in tents with Isaac and Jacob, who also received the same promise from God. Abraham was waiting for the city that has real foundations. It was waiting for the city that is planned and built by God. Sarah was not able to have children, and Abraham was too old. But he had faith in God, trusting him to do what he promised. And so God made them able to have children. Abraham was so old he was almost dead. But from that one man came as many descendants as there are stars in the sky. So many people came from him that they are like grains of sand on the seashore. All these great people continued living with faith until they died. They did not get the things God promised his people, but they were happy just to see those promises coming far in the future. They accepted the fact that they were like strangers and foreigners here on earth. When people accept something like that, they show that they are waiting for a country that will be their own. If they were thinking about the country they had left, they could have gone back. But they were waiting for a better country, a heavenly country. So God is not ashamed to be called their God, and he has prepared a city for them. Proverbs chapter 27, verses 17 to 22.
As one piece of iron sharpens another, so friends keep each other sharp. People who take care of fig trees are allowed to eat the fruit. In the same way, people who take care of their masters will be rewarded. Just as you can see your own face reflected in water, so your heart reflects the kind of person you are. Just as the place of death and destruction is never full, people always want more and more. People use fire to purify gold and silver. In the same way, you are tested by the praise people give you. Even if you pound fools to powder like grain in a bowl, you will never force the foolishness out of them.
Thank you, everyone. That was day 316. Join us for day 317. We will be covering Ezekiel chapters 24 and 25. As the king of Babylon lays siege to Jerusalem, God tells Ezekiel to relate yet another allegory to the people. This one has to do with meat in a pot. And then he makes an example out of Ezekiel's wife, which proves to be quite lethal to her health. And then God takes vengeance on all the ites and ins. You know, Ammonites, Babylonians, Moabites, Edomites. You get the idea. And in the book of Hebrews, we will finish chapter 11, as the author name drops all the stars of the Hebrew Bible. How many of them could you name off the top of your head? You'll hear great examples from Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Rahab, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, the prophets, and martyrs. Basically, it's an all-star cast and an episode you won't want to miss. We hope you enjoyed today's verses. Be sure to leave us a positive review and to share this podcast with your friends and family. Please join us for the next episode as we experience the Bible in 1 year.
Did you know we offer online courses in creative writing, literature, and web design? Visit us at storymaster.online to learn more.